What's good, you guys? Thanks for tuning in, man. This is Zoe Phillips, man. Thanks for tuning into Zone Coverage Podcast. I am your host, Zoe Phillips. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for the second episode. Got a few things we're going to get into today, man. Just want to send a shout out for all you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Excuse me. And a lot of things happened up in the HBCU landscape today. We had quite a few commitments from different programs, as well as the main thing we want to get into, which was the press conference for Deshaun Jackson at Delaware State, which received a lot of fanfare. Like the way everything went down this morning, and there were some eye-opening things that we'll get into here. And but first, before we get into that, man, I actually want to get into the final postseason FCS rankings were actually dropped this morning as well, and we had quite a few HBCU teams residing in the final poll. Let me actually bring this up here for you guys in just a second here. As you can see, the finals polls came out today. We have the HBCU national champions, Jack State University Tigers, my JSU Tigers, actually finished ranked in the final poll at 18th in the country. We had Tennessee State come in at 19, and then we also had South Carolina State, who are the MEAC champions, finishing up 24th in the country in the final poll. Now, I think this actually bodes well going to next season, specifically for South Carolina State and Jackson State, knowing that South Carolina State loses quite a few pieces, but they got a good nucleus returning. They got to replace the quarterback, but they had a backup quarterback who played. I'm not sure what year he is, and I'll get into that at some point. But if the backup quarterback is coming back, which I believe that he is, they're set up. If they return a good nucleus, then I can see them starting up next year. Probably around the same where they are right now, from the in the top 25, somewhere between 20 and 25. And if that happens, then that's a great place for them to start from going to next year. And I can also get into Jackson State, knowing that Jackson State returns their starting quarterback, one of the only few starting quarterbacks um, in the SWAC returning, as well as a great nucleus. Linebacking core coming back, upgraded a receiver position with add Nathan Rimbert, knowing they have quite a few of the receivers coming back. Lose Irv Mulligan, but as we'll get into today, some of the recruit pieces that they've added, this would shape up to be a good ending point to segue into the new season of 2025. So we have three HBCU teams finishing up in the top 25, which is, it's been quite a few years that we actually had three ranked to end the season. So it actually looks pretty good to end it. So as you guys know, North Dakota State won the national championship again, and you guys can see the rankings from there. We'll go ahead and go next. What I wanted to get into was the press conference today of Deshaun Jackson. There's been quite a few conversations had, between what the coaching hires have been like in the MEAC with Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick at Norfolk State. And I got to tell you guys, I've drunk the Kool-Aid. I really, really have. I'm in the minority in the HBCU, landscape. Some of us, see it and like it, but a lot of the older heads don't. But I got to tell you, from a football period standpoint, just the optics of it and what this could present, I think this is a really, really good hire. I personally think that Delaware State hit a home run. We're talking about a program that literally has won, I want to say like about 33% of their games in their history. They have a 33% winning percentage. So when you talk about a team or a program that historically has been known for losing, for them to do anything that's going to help them in regards to, getting any type of national shine, put them on the platform, to get them buzz in January, because I can tell you right now, as long as I've been living, I have never on any platform or any space had anyone outside of Delaware talking about Delaware State football in January and who they hired as coach and what they're doing from a recruiting standpoint. So the fact that we're all talking about Delaware State already is paying dividends. So we'll get into some of that. And so again, Deshaun Jackson had his press conference today. And I got to tell you, man, he came out looking really, really, really good. Like the suit, I like the layout of it. And I want to give kudos to Delaware State. Delaware State. A lot of times we actually get into how it looks, and with Norfolk State, the way their press conference was, and Alabama A&M, their press conference looked the part, but it was kind of a lull. And this press conference, not as big as Jackson State was in scope, but it still had the same feeling, had the same fervor, had a really, really great feel to it. I think it hit all the points that it needed to hit. But I also think too, man, the energy was there, and that hire did what it needed to do. It got those Delaware State fans with some enthusiasm. The excitement is up. They got some facility upgrades coming on the way, and you could feel the energy, watching it and getting a good feel from their fan base and their administrators. And I'm telling you, I have drunk the Kool-Aid. And Deshaun Jackson actually said a few things that I really, really want to touch on because, again, he mentioned when he met with the team and, how they're going to be on board and the changes that they have, coming in place for this program. And he's not going to it blindly. He said, look, in this first year, we're going to win. I understand what I'm stepping into. Look, we've won 2 games the past 2 seasons, so he understands the task at hand. And it sounds good. He does not sound like somebody, who's coaching for the first time. And I want to speak to some of those parts because when we talk about, what he's actually stepping into, and I can assure you, typically a coach who's worked their way up or the old run of the mill, what we're used to, they're not going to talk the way he's talking because, again, they don't really have some of the resources or are able to do or attract to that location what he's able to do. But I also want to bring to mind to you guys, because it wasn't lost by me being a football nerd and a recruiting nerd like I am. Deshaun Jackson spoke to his assistant head coach, which he announced today, which is a rarity if you really watch any introductory press conferences for any coach. You don't ever see a head coach pushing and propping up his assistant head coach. And that's done for a reason, And I just want to tell you, his assistant head coach is Travis Clark. If you're not familiar with who he is, I would urge you guys to go research him and look at what he's done in his pedigree and who he's connected to. Travis Clark is a well-renowned, not well-renowned, but a well-known coach in the local LA scene with regards to football. At Lozinga High School, they actually went to Wilson, where Clark was the head coach and Deshaun Jackson was the OC. And in the CIF Division One playoff, they actually made it to the state championship game and lost by 1 point with Deshaun Jackson as the OC at Wilson. And I'll get into some of those schools here momentarily, who they were actually with. Man, you guys got to understand, getting Travis Clark was huge. Because what that tells me is they're going to really, 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 really recruit California. And, they got to recruit, yesterday from LA, from Millikan High School, which is, again, in that same league where Deshaun Jackson played in Long Beach Poly. Millikan is one of the rivals in that same league, which is called the Moore League. And they got a defensive end with some nice size, from that league committed to Delaware State. And I'm telling you, you can see it off the rip. They're going to get some more kids from California. And, here's the thing. Being that the MEAC is only six teams, you got 5 conference games. If you can win 4 games, you're in contention for a championship. And that can be done in year 1. That's an attainable, reachable goal. So you can actually have a turnaround in year 1. You don't have, in the MEAC, you don't have to be 10-1 or 9-2 to win that conference. You can actually compete, not having a great non-conference slate or go at it with your record, but win 4 games and actually win that conference, or 5 games, go unscathed and win that conference. And with the influx of talent, which I believe he's going to get, because again, you're talking about adding a lot of kids from California over to Delaware, and he has those connections, as well as Travis Clark, who's coached where he coached at. Also, Deshaun Jackson is related to Cliff Collins, who's a well-known wide receiver coach who trained Chad Ochoa-Johnson and Steve Smith at Santa Monica College, who just so happens to be the head coach at Oaks Christian, which is a California powerhouse. So again, and that's a private school, and so again, we're talking about tons of talent that he's going to have access to heading over to Delaware. Also, I want to point this out to you as well. You need to also know that when it comes to Delaware State, though they didn't have a great record, it's not that they're devoid of talent. I'll mind you guys, within the past 4 years, that school has had two great players leave that program and both come to Jackson University and do great things. You look at Isaiah Guthrie, who I dubbed the Book of Isaiah, came to Jackson State as an All-American, became an All-American in Delaware State, actually came over, did some great things in Jackson State, and led their defense to a great performance in the Celebration Bowl. And then you look at Savion Wilkerson, who by all accounts had a great freshman year at Delaware State, transferred over, came over and had a great year at Jackson State. And both of those players are from the Midwest and from the East Coast. And so there's some talent there. They just so happen to, not put it together and win. So it's not like they're totally devoid of talent. But if you can, weed out what you think isn't good, keep what's there that is good for you guys, and then actually bring in some great talent. Because again, bringing in Kobe Boykin, who was a 4-star running back, who I'm gonna tell you guys, by all accounts, is a really, really good talented kid. So again, if he can just get a quarterback in, you're talking about some good things with Deshaun Jackson. But all in all, the press conference was a really, really good one. I think they hit all the points and hits that they need to make it a successful one. I'm honestly, I think since Deion Sanders' press conference at Jackson State in the HBCU landscape, I think it's the best one. It really touched on everything it needed to, and it got some excitement within the fan base. So really wanted to get into that. And then also, man, I just wanted to get into coming next up, since we're actually talking about commitments, man. Look, we're going to go up here, and Grambling got a big commitment. Got a real cold commitment. Dakota's Crawford, who actually committed. You know what? Hold on. Let me take that off here, because I'm already talking about Delaware State. We'll get into a commitment they got, and got a commitment from Malik Jocks, a defensive end, defensive tackle, 6'5", 245, from Long Beach, from Milliken High School, and that's what I was going to tell you guys. Milliken is one of the rivals for Long Beach Poly. In that Moore League, you got Milliken, you got Jordan, you got Wilson. You got Long Beach Poly. It's a really, really well-known league in the CIF in Southern California. And again, kid, kid just did a really, really good thing. Yes, Sibby Saber, you're absolutely right. We got, how could I sit here and forget Matt Knoll from Delaware State, who came over as an All-American at Jackson as well. Forgive me on that, which again was a great punter. So there's talent there. But again, adding this kid from Long Beach, California. And that makes 3 California kids already out of the 5 that he got committed. 3. So I'm telling you guys, you might just go ahead and look for it. But this is another nice gift for Delaware State. Like I said, Long Beach kid, has ties to Deshaun Jackson and Travis Clark. So another great pick. But like I said, we mentioned earlier, man, I want to bring up Grandma got a commitment today from Dakota's Crawford, who is a 3-star kid out of Shreveport, Louisiana, man. Went to Green Oaks High School in Shreveport, one of the best football names. We all know it. Had the ACNIL when he was at Nebraska, which he should also get another one here, getting back home in Louisiana. This is a really, really good pickup for Graham. They got a commitment from Ty Keys last week, a quarterback here from Taylorsville, Mississippi, who actually started his career at Southern Miss. Ended up back at JUCO at East Mississippi Community College, and now signed to Graham. And Ty Keys had a great high school career. He's a great passer. He can move, but it shows a different thing what they're going to do scheme-wise at Graham with throwing the ball. And so you pick up a good signal caller at quarterback with Ty Keys, and you get him a weapon. And you got the coldest weapon that you could find, Dakota's Crawford. The kid played, signed in Nebraska, ended up transferring over to Louisiana Tech, and he was there for 2 seasons. That first year in 2023, I think he only caught like about 17 passes on the season. But last season in 2024, caught 50 balls. Caught 50 passes for 813 yards and 6 touchdowns, which by those metrics leads the team with Southern. Their leading returning receiver is Javon Robinson, who only caught 43 balls for 507 yards and 1 touchdown. And so again, now you're talking about add Dakota's Crawford. Now you're adding what I would like to think is probably a starting receiver that put up good numbers last year. Also, with those numbers, I think they would have put him about third or fourth in the SWAC as a returning receiver. So you're starting off with with a good receiver, and again, looking to see what they'll do on signing day by adding another one, but a damn good pickup for Grambling, and just need to see what else they're gonna do come next month. And I'll if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'll be sure to drop the NCAA recruiting map. I mean recruiting calendar, so you guys can see what that looks like as well. And then lo and behold, man, I'm gonna get into my JSU Tigers. You know, we picked up two really good commitments. One we should have had a long time ago, which we'll get into. But up first, man, we got Jalen Ware, who just committed this evening. Stout defensive tackle, man. Came in. He's from Starkville, actually transferring in from ULM, and put up really good numbers last year. A solid D tackle, and when you look at what Jackson State wants to do on the what we want to do on defense and what we're asking our defensive linemen to do, specifically D tackles, man, he's going to fit in very well with Jeremiah Williams. But even with that, he put up some great numbers, and we faced him last year. So what we asked for our defensive tackles to do, his body type is a solid pickup. Really puts you in the vein of True Thompson, just a little bit bigger. Excuse me, just a little bit bigger in size than True Thompson, but great pickup. And looking to do this is more of what they're already going to do. Let me see here. And then coming up next, we got one of my favorite pickups, who I think is going to really take Jackson State over the top next year, is Denario Davenport. So running back we should have picked up before last season. Kind of missed out on, and he ended up going to Texas State, where we faced him. And this kid here is a monster. Really good running back. As you can see, man, from Macomb, Mississippi, but spent a lot of time in Texas, but originally from Mississippi and Macomb in South Mississippi. Big running back. 6'2", 220. I mean, huge. Definitely has the size. Definitely has the speed. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is a bigger Irv Mulligan. If anyone you guys get a chance to watch this kid and watch his film, you will see it. He is a bigger Irv Mulligan. I'm not going to sit there and say that he's a better running back than Irv. All of that remains to be seen. But running style and his size, he's a bigger Irv Mulligan. We just need to see the production. Now, when you talk about this kid and you're talking about adding this kid to that running back room, and you got Ahmad Miller coming back and Travis Terrell, Jackson State, and I can go ahead and tell you guys, being an insider, Jackson State will probably have a top 5 recruiting class in the country. But I also want to give kudos to some of the other schools who are recruiting, because they're doing their thing. Alcorn is doing really good on the Julian College front. And then you also look at what FAMU is doing. The main thing a lot of teams are going to really do is rely on that portal. And Jackson State is staying true with really recruiting a lot of high school guys, but bringing in some great transfers as well. But huge pickup for Jackson State with Denario Davenport. So, but again, you guys are going to see more of this as we get closer and closer to National Signing Day, which is beginning of next month, man. So if y'all could do me a favor, since I've been talking for a while, man, y'all go ahead and drop some questions that you want to have asked, and we can kind of go from there and answer some of your questions. I know I had some, and I had some people tuning in on Facebook that we didn't get to, so please forgive me for that. But remember, if y'all questions y'all got, man, I'm gonna do a little Q&A right here, and I can definitely answer some of your questions. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, PPMG. Oh yeah, I'm a JSU lifer. I'll always have access. I didn't get access because of that platform. I got access because I'm me. Let's see what you got. back here. And let's see. Okay, man, we're gonna actually get into some of these games here. Yes, we will be a real problem. Jackson's gonna have a good team next year. But I tell you, in the SWAC, it's gonna be pretty much another year next year of a lot of what you saw this past season. There's going to be a lot of teams breaking in brand new quarterbacks. I'm unsure if Andrew Body is coming back to Alabama State. If so, he's a returning quarterback, but yet he only played one game this past season. Let's see, on the Eastern Division, you'll only have Jackson State with a returning quarterback, possibly Andrew Body. So if they do, that's only two on the Eastern side. And in the West, you'll have Southern returning a quarterback, and let's see, Alcorn breaking into quarterback. I think Alcorn and Prairie View, if memory serves you correct, that they'll be the only two returning quarterbacks. So you're going to have a lot of first time quarterbacks coming in on the West side as well. Let's say, will the Hampton game be played? The Hampton game will be played in Jackson. It's the first game of the season. Sylvester, no, I don't know when the schedule will be coming out, but typically knowing how we do, the schedule will probably come out. If I had to assume, I'll probably say probably the end of next month or the first part of March, unless they change something differently. But I mean, but again, it could come out sometime the end of this month. But if I had to guess, probably next month or the very first part of March. Bubba Jr., what's going on, cuzzo? How would JSU replace the secondary? It's not much to replace. You're losing these, well, possibly losing the sales. I don't necessarily know if he's getting the waiver to get cleared to come back. But when it comes to the secondary, you still got Shamar Hawkins. You got B.J. Washington coming back, who really didn't play much because of coming off of injury. Who was playing at a great level before he got injured, and then we had a lot of young guys who actually stepped in and played pretty good. So there's not much to replace. And Isaias, though he played a great deal, Jack State still rotated safety. So you're going to have a lot of guys that actually still play. How do I feel about the recruiting for the DB room? The recruiting is good across the board. What position does Jack State need to upgrade? I'm going to always say upgrade the O-line. Even though we have a great O-line coming back, you always want to recruit D-line and O-linemen. I don't care how good they are. You can have the best O-line in the country. You still want to upgrade O-line and D-line. Well, on the issue on Southern's quarterback, ZT Set left. ZT Set left and transferred over to Grambling, which I personally like the kid. I think the kid has potential, and I think the kid is good. So Grambling, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Grambling so far, what they're doing on the recruiting front. They picked up two quarterbacks, going to have an open battle, and both can actually throw the ball. I get the sense from what they're doing with the moves they're making that Gremlin's going to throw the ball a lot more next year. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game in a pass-happy, run-and-shoot offense, but they're going to throw the ball. And you can say that you can tell from the skill set of the quarterbacks that they're actually picking up. Is HBCU football right now in a better place than it was the last 3 years? I would say that HBCU football is trending upward since Coach Prime came into the space. I think what we're doing, and the thing that I can appreciate, is that HBCU ball is not standing pat. I think that if we're trending upward, it's a slow trajectory, but it's still an upward move. It's kind of hard to really say what that looks like and what that is within this new college football landscape, because there's still so many other things that we really could be doing that I really think could just take us over the top. But as it stands right now, I still feel comforted knowing that they're not being too stagnant or they're regressing. So I can appreciate that. But that's only because of the influx of talent that I feel that way. And also with the moves that the MEAC has made, I feel like if we can still, even with those two moves, still do things to leapfrog with that, to attach ourselves to that and trend upward, I think we're moving in the right trajectory. No, through that Hampton game will be played in Jackson. What do you think about the old lineman that just committed? Oh man, it's a really really good pickup. It's an amazing pickup, but it's way too early for me to. It's way too early in the game for me to stay on, with that because man, as you can imagine, so much can happen between now and the end of next season, right? But the thing is, with it being January, obviously if he stays committed at least throughout the season, then you can imagine to see him actually signing in December. And if he does that, then if he does sign, it's an amazing pickup. That's another local kid, former teammate of Nate Blunt. Great pickup. That left hand in the portal is over for Southern. Oh, he got back in the portal. I was about to say because he transferred over to Grambling. I'm not sure if he got back in, but if he last time I checked, which was a few days ago, he transferred to Grambling. As it stands today, what are the top 5 recruiting classes in the SWAC? Whew, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. If I had to really, really guess at it, I would say the top 5 classes presently today, I would go Jackson State, and I'm not saying it's as I don't have any blue and white glasses on. Jackson State easily going to have one of the top 5 classes in the country. So I would put Jackson State number 1. I think right now number 2, I would probably go FAMU, and excuse me, I would put it a tie at number 2. Number 2, I'll put it a tie between. No, I'm not going to do that. That's cheap. If I had to go number 2, I would go Grambling. So I would say Jackson State number 1, Grambling number 2, FAMU number 3. I would probably lean to say Alcorn number 4, and then I would probably put Alabama State at number 5 when it comes to top 5 classes. So Jackson State, Grambling, FAM, Alcorn, Alabama State. Let's see. Headed for us, but Zai is a good fit for Sucks. Man, look, Zai McDonald is a good pickup pretty much anywhere he goes. The kid is a good quarterback. Kid in his high school career threw for a shade under 11,000 yards, and he's an athlete. He can move. 3-star kid, signed with ULL. I forget the coach name who was under Ty from Mississippi State. He had ULL rolling. But Zai's a good player. Zai's a good player. And again, I understand him leaving. Graduated from Jackson State, has a year of eligibility and wants to actually go out and perform his last year. I did see he got an offer from Valley. Unsure of exactly where he may actually land on his feet, but he's going to get some offers and he'll have the opportunity to actually play. So looking forward to see what he's actually going to do. War on the Streets, JSU in Vegas, true or false? I can't really speak on that. And honestly, I wouldn't even break that here, if that was true. I'm real big on whatever the institution's going to do, let them make their own news. But there are some rumblings about another game some other place. Will USM and Hampton be our only 2 out-of-conference games? No. No. We play USM and Hampton. I'll let the school announce who they'll actually be playing the other 2 non-conference games. I will say that we are actually going to have 12 conference games again next year. We're going to have 5 home games at the vet, but I'll let the school do that. I'm not going to break that here or get into that. What was I play next season? Miss Sullivan, I'm unsure what I will play. He hasn't gotten out of the portal yet, to my knowledge. Yes and no. To be honest, I'm unfamiliar with what Pine Bluff has been doing. To be honest, to be fair, I'm unsure what Pine Bluff is doing, what Valley is doing. I did see Valley picked up a good 3-star player out of Florida today, but I'm unsure of what Valley, Pine Bluff, as well as Prairie View. Prairie View, I'm keeping my eye on because they hit a home run with their coaching hire. And which side can I purchase these 2 pass watch basketball? Let's see here. This is my Zach McDonald, the best quarterback for JSU. Wasn't for him, we would not be. That's not true. That's my. What about our kicking game, field goal? Oh, kicking is fine. Jackson going to actually end up getting another kicker, but on the punting side, we'll be fine. And kicker. I don't maybe to get back. Anybody gets in that portal, I don't think really any coach in the SWAC once a kid gets in the portal, they're going to let them come back. I highly doubt that'll happen any rate across the board. But look, and I'm not gonna really hold you guys up too much longer, but I did got some suggestions for you guys. Look, I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes because really want to get this thing up and thriving. Like I said, the presentation and how it looks and what's going to be presented to you guys, we're going to do a lot of changes to upgrade this. But I want you guys to put some suggestions in the comments, man, of what you would like to see. You know what you want this thing to look like, and what you expect from me, and how you want this thing to roll. So like I said, just bear with me. We're going to have a lot of changes coming up here in the next upcoming weeks. This thing is going to look totally different. And like I said, too, we're going to do a lot of have a call in line for you guys to call in. And we're going to do a lot of interviews, too. We're going to have a lot of people here and do a lot of different things as well. So, but if you guys could, give it a roll out here in the next 4 minutes. I want you guys to, like I said, drop some comments or some suggestions of what you would like to see. But yeah, go back over. Like I said, if you guys are tuning in late, again, Deshaun Jackson had an amazing press conference today. Jackson State got three commitments today. One was for the class of 2026. Delaware State picked up 2 commitments. Grambling picked up 2 commitments, and the Valley picked up a commitment. And again, know by the time we come back on next Monday, we'll have a good slate of basketball games over this weekend, and we'll actually touch into, the standings and the records of the teams with the slate of games, and actually got some good stats for you guys next week with regards to the SWAC and the MEAC, at least on a Division I level, more so than Division II, with statistics, lot of thorough statistics, where we rank in the country with a lot of those, with a lot of the intel as well. So, and I'll have that for you guys starting on Monday next week. We thought some men basketball and women basketball as we head into conference play. Men are actually will be pretty good. Women have over exceeded everybody's expectations thus far. Coach Richards is doing a great job, and the men look good against Alcorn. But again, man, starting out 0-13 is tough, and so they won the first game, got a doubleheader. But we'll just get into next week and see what that actually looks like. How much tickets price be raised $2. Going up $2 more in price for the season tickets, and I'm waiting to actually see what other teams in the SWAC as well as the MEAC will do with regards to following Jackson State lead in regards to raising tickets for NIL, to see what they can do to actually assist them and help them all out. So we got here. Do I think either Terrell could battle for quarterback 1? I sure do. I think either Terrell and the other quarterback will battle. It's going to be a thing to see. Jacobin is starting, but there's going to be a real legit battle for backup for Jackson State. Would an earlier start time be possible for me? Possibly. Thoughts on Coach Prime shouting out JSU this morning on GMA. Hey, it was needed. It was needed. I just wish that could have been expressed, early when he left. But I'm not going to complain because he's doing it now, and he showed some contrition, I believe, when he said it. So. It was good to see. I just wish you could have said it earlier. Would have helped and changed a whole lot of things. But better late than never. But we can appreciate it. But look, you guys, that's pretty much it for me on this Wednesday. But like I said, I'll be back Monday. Learn how to drop some other videos, man. As we get breaking news with commitments, we'll drop some videos and drop some content for you guys. But like I said, we'll be back on Monday, have a lot more info for you guys, a lot of stuff for games over the weekend and with other recruiting rankings that we actually get going into next week. That's it for me, man. Thanks for tuning in to Zone Coverage Podcast with your boy, Zoe Phillips. Have a good weekend, man. We're out.